Hello and welcome back to another episode of Handy Dandy Repairs. Today we are looking at a customer's device, doing a repair for a customer who I'll explain when you see it. Let's go to the overhead. Okay, so what we have here is a 10 terabyte Western Digital drive, but as you can see, it's a bit broken. Oh, I've actually just noticed it's a bit bent there too. Am I seeing things? No, it's definitely a bit bent. Okay, hopefully it hasn't damaged anything. Oh, there's a pin there. I guess the pin didn't line up properly. Hopefully it's okay. But we're here to fix this connector. And to do that, we have a donor board. So let me just quickly unscrew this so we can take the tension off that board. And what do we got? Much smaller than that. So T6. T6. Gold screw up the front. So the longer screws go up the front, I guess. And short screws everywhere else. Hopefully it's okay. I'm just going to put that back in the bag. And I'll put that somewhere safe. Alright. So here's our donor board. Here's our original board. Just have a quick look. So this is our original board. And this is our donor board. Just so if I lose track of what's what, I can come back. So, now we need to try and get this off. So we have a couple of connecting pins over here, a whole heap along here and a whole heap along there. And there's also two, probably just ground plane ones, just for strength. So first things first, we're going to try and get the donor one off because we don't care too much about this board. So if we're going to damage anything or we need to learn a lesson about something, we want to learn it on this board. So I think the safest way to go about this one will be some low melt solder. So I'm just going to add a drop of flux to these anchor points. Might just grab a holder. Now with our big iron, I'm just going to add some low melt solder to these connections. And I'm just going to try the solder sucker, see how that goes. No luck there. So So let's try some wick. Okay, it's not working too well. So I think we're probably going to have to add some hot air to this. So let me just flip the board over. I'm going to come in and add some low melt solder to all of these. Which is going to greatly reduce the amount of heat needed to desolder them. Knocked the resistor off there. Just going to rotate the board, make it a little bit easier for me. Leave that resistor over there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang this off the edge of the bench. And I'm going to heat from underneath. Just going to go a nice low temp just to make sure we don't damage the board at this stage anyway. Not that we worry too much about this board, but just in case. You throw it at 60 degrees, let's go 60% airflow. And we're just going to keep it moving back and forth like this. Will take a while because it's such a big connector. And we're off. And as we can see, we've done no damage to the board at all, other than that resistor that we knocked. But you know, we live and we learn. So I think that is more than acceptable as an option, as a way to remove the other one. So I'm going to sit that one to the side for now. Let's have a look at our connector. Just going to put some weight on it so it doesn't slide around, hopefully. Actually, I could probably just clamp it in the holder. Would be a safer bet. Okay. Now we need to wick up all that low melt solder, because that's the last thing we want on the connector. So low melt solder is not strong. It's very low melt, low temperature. It will help you desolder items because it requires such little temperature to melt. But it's also extremely brittle and soft. And obviously the low temperature thing's not great either. So it is not how we want our solder joints to perform. So we're going to wick all this off. Good thing is, because of its low melting temperature, it's quite easy to clean off too. Add some flux to this just in case. And again, we'll come in with our iron and our solder wick. Okay, that is our connector off and prepped, ready to go. Could give it a little bit of a clean, but I'm not really going to bother at this stage. So now we need to get the broken connector off. And we're going to do that the exact same way. Now we're going to be super careful not to knock that resistor off that we knocked off the other board. Let's see if we can work out where we knocked it off from. You know, it's a great question. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it was already on the end of my iron. Might have already been on my iron. I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know. Anyway. And it's off just like that. So now we can reposition the board. And we can clean everything up. So first things first. Just going to try, if we can, to clear out these holes here with our solder sucker. Beautiful. Next up, we'll get some wick. Something a little bit thicker. And we'll just wiggle this up. Honestly, seems like I'm struggling a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of this wick. This is just a cheap one I got off AliExpress. It's a no-name brand. I don't even think it has a brand. So we'll come back through with something a bit better. Unfortunately, I haven't got any thicker stuff. That is good. But this stuff will work. It's much thinner stuff, but it's mechanic branded and it works really well. Alright. Burn up the flux just a little bit. Nothing a little bit of isopropyl won't take care of. Now I'm just going to hit these with some wick as well, just to make sure they're completely clear, and hopefully we'll be able to poke our leg straight through. All right. So there's our old broken one. This is our new one, prepped and ready to go. So this should just drop in here like so, and it should sit nice and flat, which we can see it does. So I'm going to get us in a comfortable position to work. There's nothing on the back of the board, so I can sit that in all the way down here. So it sits nice and flat, so I can keep some tension on it. Now I'm just going to come in with a little bit of solder, and I'm just going to press it down here. And just tack that one pin there. We'll move to the other side. And again, I'm just going to hold this down. And tack that. Now I can pick it up by the connector, so we know that it's nice and flat, it's sitting good. I'm just going to sit it flat on the ground for this part. With a tiny bit of flux. We want a nice big iron because it's a nice big ground plane. Just pressing down, we're just going to come in and solder that. We want to add enough solder that it's going to flow through, but we don't want too much because we don't want it to sit up, because it's designed to be nice and flat. this one's sitting up just a little bit, so I might actually just wick the tiniest little bit off there. Beautiful. Done and done, nice and clean. Then we can go back over to this side. And we can solder these pins one at a time. Do want a little bit of flux in there. Not too much because we're going to have to clean it off again. What I'm doing now is called drag soldering. Basically we just add a little bit of solder to our iron and just drag it along. Add some flux here. Drag soldering is one of those things that it makes it very easy to do, but it's also not as easy as it looks. It's one of those things, if you don't have the temperature right, you don't have good solder, you don't have good flux, there's so many things that can go wrong. But if you're doing it right, it makes the job look effortless, and it really just does make the job effortless. Alright, just going to go across with my tweezers and make sure they're all nice and secure. You can tell those ones are, they look fantastic. And that's it. So now I'm just going to give it a quick clean. So let's go over to the overhead. Just give the back of this a quick wipe down. So there's our original board. Just double check that. Yep. With our new connector, we can see that it's sitting flat with the back of the board. It's nice and secure. And yeah, this was our old broken connector. And this one here was our donor board. So now we can reassemble the drive and test. So I'm just going to do that now. Let me grab my dock and we can test. This is our dock. So I'm just going to very Very carefully place the hard drive into here. And flick it on. Okay, just bring this up so you can see. I'll rescan for drives. And there it is there. The WD 10 terabyte drive, it's reading good, low temperatures, it is reading. And just to be absolutely certain, comics and docos. Looks to me like that is fixed. Customer's gonna be wrapped. Don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, bell notifications, stay up to date. If you have something you need fixed or you would like fixed or you just want to discuss it and see if there's an option to fix it, let me know. And keep watching for some photos of what the customer attempted before it got given to me for a proper fix. We'll see you in the next one.